amazed and impressed. Very, very pleased that everybody is here. I'm honored, and we are so proud that you're taking this time for yourself. So give yourself some accolades, give yourself some kudos, and thank you for being here. Next up, we have Cindy Rose Ferguson. Cindy Rose, she has a phrase that has gotten her through, I think, quite a bit in her life. A cause for pause. I love it. I can't wait to hear more about it. Cindy Rose's life embodies resilience in adversity. For sure. You'll learn why. She's faced family suicides, foster care challenges, battled anxiety, depression, emerging as an advocate for mental health care reform, a blogger, a wellness mentor, an owner of multiple businesses. Her determination knows no bounds. Her upcoming chapter in the book, Transformation Triumphs, Inspiring Stories of Personal and Professional Resilience for You, promises to be a bestseller. Representing Avon, Canada, she is an expert in aging skin and all that is natural for health solutions. As a master toe reader, she embraces holistic healthcare practices, and you can find her at Avon with Cindy Rose on Facebook. And I believe that is all I have for you, Miss Cindy Rose, but yay! Thank
Maturing
you.
skin, maturing skin.
Maturing skin, sorry, my mistake.
Excuse me. And, you know, I have to question maturing as well, because I keep waiting for that to happen. I was looking forward to having gray hair one day so it would get thicker, but here I am 65 and I don't dye this. It's just going blonde. What can I do? But yeah, maturing skin is my specialty. Hi, everybody. I'm a little anxious, but, you know, and it's very hard for me to sit still. I took my bells off so I wouldn't be too distracting tonight because I do wear bells all the time. And part of the reason I wear bells is because I've got skunks, but another reason I wear bells because whether you remember or not, every time you hear a bell, an angel gets its wings. And I have lots of angels in my life that are always around, so I keep it with me. So a cause for pause. I'm not going to tell you what you should do or could do or couldn't do or what's out there for you. I will tell you a little bit about my journey. One of the profound statements in my life was when I was around 10 or 11, and my life was in upheaval, once again being taken away from a place of safety and comfort and moved several provinces away. And my little old 4'11", tall and wide Jewish grandmother said to me, when I said, "Nanny, I'm so scared. What am I going to do? And there'll be nobody there." Well, she did say to me a cuss word too, so if you'll excuse me, it comes at the end. Nanny was cool. She told me that I have everything in me that I need, and I can do and be anything that I want, and don't let anyone shit on you. A year and a half after that, my mother left me in a strange province with my new father, and I was kind of a little angry and rebellious, and took all kinds of different venues. And the reason I was so angry was because I was terrified. And I was terrified because the first 5 years of my life were spent with a pedophile father. And when my mother rescued me from that when I was 5 years old, and I had a new father and a lovely family, I had the best childhood a child could ever have. And I was blessed. I mean, those 5 years coming up, I also knew that angels existed, because in times of fear and hiding and terror and shame and confusion, I felt the wings of the angels surrounding me and giving me love, giving me warmth, giving me peace. A sense of peace came over me. So there's been different experiences and different transformation triumphs in my life of making it through different stages. So we're back to the teenagers. Let's see if I can keep on track here. I've got it written down. 1 to 5, turmoil. 5 to 11, rescued. 11, 12, new province, new experiences. 12 to 16, this man that I didn't know from Adam, who was a confirmed bachelor when he met my mother and a fantastic father. And I'm honored to carry that man's name. But I left home at 16 because I knew everything. And that poor man was so shattered. He was drinking a lot. And we used to have fist fights and things like that. And I was up for fighting anything because I'd had to protect myself quite a bit of my life. And I even kicked that poor man in the testicles one day. When I was blessed enough in my recent cause for pause to have a teenager live here with me, a scared, rebellious, frightened teenager. I apologize to my father. So, yeah. And I'm so sorry I was ever a teenager for you, you poor fellow. Excuse me. When I left home at 16, kind of went out and about and on my own and did all kinds of menial jobs like cleaning toilets, scrubbing walls, getting groped by a greasy spoon restaurant owner. And then I went back to school and I got my grade 12 and I'm a certified stenographer, I will have you know, and I type about 150 a minute and shorthand and the whole bit. At the time that I did go back for my upgrading at the most beautiful surroundings in Ontario, Seneca campus, I was working factories, and that when I went back in as expediter. And then from there, it just kept going forward. My mother was a businesswoman and taught me incredible business ethics. And in 1978, we opened a travel agency, which was a multi-million-dollar go when it was ended at her death and suicide in 1997. So it goes all over the place. There's like quite a few of them. Throughout the years, when I left home at 16, things started happening because I knew that I could do and be anything because my nanny told me that. And I knew I was very smart because the IQ test said so. And I just kept moving forward. And it wasn't an option to quit. And a very common phrase is necessity is the mother of invention, or intention, if you want to say it. And it was necessary for me to provide for myself. I have had many families. I've been the first grandchild of many families. And I've had no family. I'm kind of like a rolling stone. There's been a lot of temporary things in my life, and the most permanent thing in my life has been this little house that I bought when I was 30. In my teens, as I was saying, people kept coming that would teach me things of kindness and kindness and kindness and wisdom. And things like books would fall off the shelves in front of me, something I would have to read, and would bring awareness around to me. So I don't know whether anyone could have told me what to do because I had a will and a mind of my own, because that had just been the way it had developed. But there was such a community, a tribe of love and earth angels that kept appearing before me. And because as a toddler, I knew that angels existed, it was almost like these people appeared with light around them. So I always knew that there was love. I I did things like Candy Striper and Junior Lions Club, and always involved in things like that. When I was about 30, when I bought this house, at that point I had been married. We'd had our own business, still working at my mom's agency and developing. And I had several non-term pregnancies go down, ending in a tubular pregnancy, and then complete hysterectomy. During that time, my lovely husband, as we were seeing about in vitro fertilization at Mount Sinai in Toronto, big thing back in the 80s, was new. It was something brand new. My husband got a married woman pregnant and said, "Oh, well, we could raise the kid." I don't think so. Goodbye. So I bought my little house. And that was another transition. Within 3 days of that, I got a job up here managing a beautiful little startup travel agency for a family that had taken on a franchise, and we built and grew that. And I carried on, and I found love again. He died. That's devastated me, tore me to pieces. But at this point, I had a career, my volunteer work. I was a lady shriner. I was with Canadian Progress Club with my dear friend Sherry Blaine Grant, who is all, she's here tonight. Hi, Sherry. Thank you. Who has also been one of my biggest earth angels. She came and her family took me in as theirs, and they're my older sister, bigger sister. They're my older sisters. I've always been the immature one in the family. The final little glitch here in this last little section of mine was in 1997. I had a major motor vehicle accident. A tractor trailer took me out on the highway. Head injury. My dad's first comment was, "Good thing it was your head, nothing serious was damaged." Kind of the attitude that got me by. And I want to mention too that this is a very funny little thing. When I left Jack Ferguson's house, my father, when I was 16, I kind of, stayed separate. I went to his new marriage. I communicated with all that, but I kept out of his life because I wasn't his child and I didn't want to impose on them in that. I bought this house, and about a week after I was coming home from work, and there's this van going slowly by my drive, and I hear, Cindy Ferguson. Oh my God, what have I done now? And I turn around and there's my father. He lived a block down the road. You talk about the universe gifting us and the angels being there for us. There have been, I've often said I've lived the worst of the worst and the best of the best. And I've been blessed through it all, through every moment of it. Because in some of the, when I lost the ability to have children, well, maybe 20 years later, when I had the ability to have a child stay here with me for the same period of time of my life, grade 2 to grade 6, that I was in a safe place from a scary place. And I was able to see that in her as she was with me and developing and growing. And to this day, she is another child of my heart. There's just so many things that come around. So the life we choose in this moment is a direct result of the action we take in this moment. In this moment, I'm nervous as all get out, girls and boys. I'm telling you, this is very, very personal. I've not gone into this much depth about any of it. I just want to say that it's within us. It's within each and every one of us. Bad things happen, but maybe they're meant to. Maybe for some reason we made a contract before we came into this atmosphere that said this person's going to step on my toes and this person isn't. And then that person will go away and this person won't. And maybe it's just we have a lesson to learn from another time. We don't know that. I choose to believe that. And that's the thing. Oh, I love you, Sherry. Sorry, I thought Sherry. We don't know that. I didn't know when I was hiding under the stairs and trying to be very, very small that maybe that poor sick man had that done to him and it was just normal. These are things we learn as we grow along the way. And as a child, I didn't have that discernment. I just knew that there was a safe place and the angels had me. When I came up here to Ontario, when my mom left me with this fellow that I didn't know, but the only thing that was safe to me was my previous father, and now he wasn't there. And my grandmother, and she wasn't there. So I got a little crazy and left home. And it went on from there. But I was blessed. He came back into my life and lived just down the stinking road. Can you imagine? 15 years later, there was contact in between there, but you want to talk about blessings and being open to seeing them or being able to see them. And I think I had enough adversity and enough love and joy and blessings in my life that I was able to look at that as, wow, that's a gift. We're not taught that when we wake up in the morning and look at that glisten of dew from the condensation from the sun coming up, that's a beautiful thing. And if we can just take the time, the moment to go, oh, thank you. That was a really nice thing. Never mind the fact somebody's got you stabbing in the back. That's okay. There's that beautiful dewdrop right there. What we put our mind to will appear to us. So if we're putting our mind to they're hurting me, they're doing bad to me, they're doing. No, they're not, darlings. We're choosing to be in that moment with them. We can choose to walk away. It's scary. Ask Kelly, ask any of us here. It's scary to make that next step. But once we realize we have that right of choice, and maybe we should be telling everybody, you get to choose not to engage. You get to choose to bless and release. You get to choose. Let's teach our children that you can choose. Choose to be respectful, mind you, but choose not to feed into another person's mental illness. And speaking of mental illness, that's another big issue with me, because I didn't realize until after my brilliant, amazing mother's suicide she was severely manic depressive. I knew she had shock treatments. I knew that when I was a candy striper and called to emerge to take a lady up to psych, it was my mom after a previous overdose. I knew that she had ups and downs, and she would disappear from the office and we'd be left for months on end trying to make things work out and things like that. But all I knew was she had a high and a low, and there was never any in between. And that was challenging, but I didn't know what it was. I vowed I wasn't going to be like my mother. Well, guess what? I'm bipolar. It's a modern, lovely little term for manic depressive. It happens in there, but there are things that we can do about it. And I've been blessed. I broke my foot in 2017, which led me to becoming an Avon representative. Not only broke my foot, it was 3 months, non-white bearing, blah, 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 blah. Very inconvenient for an old doll living on her own, being 100 pounds overweight and can't get from A to B. I couldn't even get out of bed. But again, an ad came up and it tweaked me, and something said, okay, answer it. And 2 months later, I'd reached top seller from my desk. So it was, the will comes from within, and not all of us have that, or not all of us can be even aware of it at the time. In this day and age, there's quick fixes like psychotropics and stuff. And I was on such high doses of psychotropics for so long that some pharmacists would phone the doctor to make sure that this was a legit script. It was that bad. And I'm very proud to say, with the help of my doctor, my psychiatrist, and many other blessed souls and angels, I haven't been on meds for over 12 months now. So my anxiety at this point is really high. But that's a habitual response my body is known to do. My brain knows that I can stop short breathing, stop gasping for air, because that's only feeding the cortisol, feeding the nerves, feeding the anxiety. And I can take a nice deep old breath and think about dewdrops glistening in the sunshine. Or my skunky scratching at the door because I closed the door so they'd leave me alone tonight. Or Mama Tessa knocking over my glasses. These things happen. So what we choose to believe, I choose to believe that the universe has got my back. I choose to believe, as Louise Hay would say, life loves you. That was another thing that came across my path in the 80s. My husband's cousin was diagnosed with AIDS, but in the 80s in Sunnybrook, she was treated like a leper or something horrible, terrible thing. And for some reason, I came across Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life, You Can Heal Your Body. And it was an exercise book. And that was a big beginning for me, because throughout the 80s, I had several operations, several miscarriages, and a tubular pregnancy. And when I went in for my final surgery, after more processing, I was okay. I didn't know if I was coming out. I think Sherry took me home from that. They wanted to keep me in. So Sherry, no, I signed out against doctor's orders. Such a rebel. And poor Sherry, we're going home. My tummy's cut hip to hip. It's been like 10 days. And she's trying to go gently over the train tracks. And I'm groaning and it's okay, I'm good. Silliness. I don't know if I've stayed on track at all, but there are so many things that can happen. Like poop does happen. Poop happens and poop will happen again. Yesterday, my computer went down. That was poop. Set my anxiety right out the window. But it wasn't someone punching me in the face because I choose not to partake in that nonsense anymore. Well, we choose to believe. I choose to believe life is good. I choose to believe as long as I keep putting one foot in front of the other and making the attempts, it'll work out. It'll work out. This too shall pass. And was it really all that bad after all? The ability to not have children gave me the gift of having wee Courtney with me for those years where she needed me, and allowed me to see that that part of my childhood gave me foundation, gave me strength, gave me love and protection. And it was taken away, but that's okay because it was there. It was within me. Bad things will happen. So will good. I choose to hook onto those good things. Another thing I had to choose to do was forgive myself for my father's pedophilia because I was a toddler. I had no control over that. I had no participation in that, even though there's some, reciprocal things that happen from that. But I had to learn to forgive myself as well as other people. And it's easy to forgive other people, but not knowing even if you should, do you have to forgive yourself? Well, of course you do. Of course you do, because obviously there's things that are so deeply within us that we still carry that guilt or that shame. So coming to terms to be brave enough to accept that, yeah, you can forgive yourself for that, because you know what? You weren't a part of it. Actually, I wasn't, because I learned how to disassociate the brain from the body at a very young age as well. The life we live in this moment is a direct result of the action we take in this moment. So what you did 5 minutes ago, if you kicked your grandmother in the knee, that was 5 minutes ago. Okay. You can't change that. You can say you're sorry. That's an action to deal with it for right now. You may have slept with every man, woman, and child, dog, and cat in your past, but that was in the past. What are you doing about it now? Does it bother you? Does your gut tell you it wasn't right? Is that your own thought, or is that something that's been a belief system built up within you over the years? This is a good one. Tomorrow may be too late. Yesterday won't change no matter how hard you wish. It just leads right into what I said, the action we take right now, the thoughts we take, how we speak to ourselves. I've broken down childhood and so forth. So from 1 to 2, we're the prince and princess of the world, and everything we do is beautiful until we start to touch something. And then we hear, no, can't, don't, bad, bleh, 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 bleh. So all of a sudden we start learning these negative and aggressive responses to things. And that starts imprinting and feeding on us. And you're a bad girl, you're a bad boy, don't do that, you shouldn't do that. Blah, 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 blah. My take on shoulda, coulda, woulda is didn't, can't, won't. Okay? It's over, it's done. Leave it in the past. The reason we have eyes in the front, I'm stealing this from somebody that I've read, is because we don't got to be looking back there other than to say, you are beautiful, you are charming, you are amazing. That's the only thing I want you looking back at. The good things. And our power to heal and create is in each moment that we have right now. It's so easy to get caught up in regretting the past, or I should have done this, or why did they do that, or any of that. It's just a way of life that's been that it's somehow acceptable in society to do that. And again, in school, why aren't we teaching them that do the right thing now, take the right action now, and you won't be living with regrets? And regrets is something, after my husband got this lovely married woman pregnant and so forth, and I had just had a complete and total hysterectomy and trying to make my way again, I often thought, I wish them as much pain and anguish and misery as I'm experiencing right now. And a year and a half later, that child that was conceived during my marriage passed of a horrible kidney and liver cancer, and it was devastating. And from that moment on, I never wished bad on anyone for anything. Even if they did kick their grandmother in the knee, I wasn't going to say, you're wicked, you're evil, and I wish that would happen to you, because even though I didn't make that happen to that blessed little child, I had had that thought and it had happened, and I felt horrible and I felt regret, and I didn't want to feel regret again. I didn't want to feel that way again. So what happens today happens today. What happens tomorrow is up to you in each moment that you give yourself to live and breathe, or that the Lord or the universe gives us to live and breathe. What you choose to believe, that's up to you. If you tell yourself you can't, I'm not going to disagree with you, because you've already told yourself that, okay? What am I going to waste my breath for? If you ask me if it's right or wrong, I'm going to ask you, well, how does it feel? What's your gut feeling? Do you feel pukey, or do you feel butterflies? There's a difference. There's different feelings in there. And we have it all within us. Like Nanny said, you have it all within you. Strong, you're smart. You can do and be anything you want. And my mother was a prime example of that, because she had me at 15. Her husband was an alcoholic pedophile. She had another child that was taken by Children's Aid, but I was told that she died. But I knew she didn't, because I remember the day she was taken from my arms as I was hiding under different steps, running from the babysitter, because I saw these suits coming, and I was like 4. And I ran with my sister under this step, and they found me and made me give her up. But I had been told after that she had died. And I found out on my mother's death that the Children's Aid did take her. So that wasn't just a dream I had, that was a reality. And there's so many things that happen along the way that we may not have the wherewithal of processing it at the time. But don't look outside of yourself for validation. I guess if I'm going to say, you should. Look within yourself for validation. Are you doing your best for agreement? Are you doing your best? Are you speaking your truth? Be impeccable with your word. Always do your best. Don't take anything personally. And don't assume anything. Is that the other one? I always miss one. I always get 3, but I always miss one. But to me, again, that goes back to the very basics of life. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you want to be treated with respect and with love, treat others with that. And sometimes we don't get to choose who's in our space. Sometimes we just have to tell them how enchanting they are. That's enchanting. That's just ducky. And let them spew on, because it's not affecting your life, it's affecting them. And if they're telling you a lie, it's their lie to carry. It's their gut that's going to pay for that lie, their headache, their illness, their dis-ease of body, mind, and soul. And as for, I'm getting all excited. Sometimes we think we have worked on that and worked on that and worked on that and brought it to a point of brought it to a point of understanding, acceptance, knowledge, whatever. And some people say, well, isn't life like the onion where you're peeling away? I'd rather think of it as the rosebud. You see how a rose opens its little big leaves and then other leaves, and then there's still more in there, and it's still all curled around and it's still opening up. So you're not an onion, you're just a rosebud. That's it. That's all I'm going to go because I just keep going off on circles. It's all up to each and every one of us to create our peace, our joy, our acceptance, and our kindness to others. We don't know what they're going through. And I know that from dealing with mental illness all my life without even knowing it, not having a name for it, not having an understanding of it. But when I did get my head injury in 97, and then my mom succeeded that same year, I had a greater understanding of things like that. It doesn't happen in the moment. And nobody can tell you, you should do this, you should do that, you should do that. There's many things we can do. The only thing I guess you should do is believe in yourself. Believe in yourself and believe all things are meant to be, whether we like them or not. And every single challenge, hurdle, curse, frustration is a great opportunity to live and learn and grow. That's it.
Oh, Rose. Oh my gosh, so much wisdom in
Did I stick to my notes?
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. You know, resilience is a learned behavior. It is a learned thing. And I'm telling you that it is.
And it's constant.
It is constant.
Constant, that rose petal.
Important. It is so very important because life is not always a piece of cake. It is not.
And then it would just be boring.
Right. Love, 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 love. Does anybody have questions for Cindy Rose or any kind of
I want to thank Sherry Brandt for being such a big part of my life. She is my sister. Oh. And actually, my sister's name was Sherry as well. Sherry Ann, same as Sherry's. And it was funny when we first met, I think she asked her mother, is it possible that Cindy's my sister? But I'm quite a bit shorter than the rest of the family.
That's correct.
And anyone taller than me is older than me. So there you go.
I like it. I like that being 5'2". I like that idea.
Yeah. And that could be why I never grew up. And the fact of not having children, because there was a different set. My responsibility was to work and volunteer, career and my volunteer work. And a sense of responsibility to children and family and that permanency and that developing and growing something together forces you to grow up.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you, Margaret. So there's a little bit of an overall that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter what you've been through. Love is stronger than fear.
Yes.
I'll try and end on that.
Scream it. Yeah.
You know, just to interject before we move on to the last speaker of the evening, I want to say if no one here has made any advancements to purchase the book that is coming out on December 12th, some of these conversations should be inspiring you to reach out to whoever your speaker is or whoever your connection is in Transformation Triumphs to actually get the book, because these stories are elaborated in that dang thing, and they're there for the writing, and they're there for the reading, and they're there for the sharing. So
they're there for the inspiration. I mean, this is, you cannot be more inspiring. Any of our speakers today, Joe, Kelly, Cindy Rose, who am I forgetting? I can't wait to hear Sabrina. And I know
Diana.
Thank you, Diana. Just, wow. So exciting. Thank you, Cindy Rose. You were awesome. Your story is heart-wrenching, but at the same time, it is so inspiring. So thank you for being willing to share it with us.
I don't want it to be heart-wrenching at all, because it was simply a life, but
well, but part of it is
some of it is sad, and I did have to cry for that child at one point of my life as well, at several points. Yeah,
100%. And
accepting that.
And there's grace in, kind of going back in time and in your mind's eye and giving that little baby who couldn't possibly have had the resilient skills to a big hug and a big kiss and a big, we got this. We're going to get through this. There's power
We
in
do.
it. So thank you for being the inspiration for